Today has been a volatile day for the Republicans. After their electoral victories, the GOP has turned in on itself, and there's a smell of civil war in the air. First, the Tea Party branch of the GOP has targeted earmarks for elimination. The establishment is fighting back hard. Republican Minority Leader Mitch McConnell sat down with every new GOP senator to tell them about the wonderful advantages of earmarks and why they should side with him against Republican Senator Jim DeMint. Then a new opponent rose to challenge Michael Steele at the RNC. Saul Anuzis, the former Republican chairman of Michigan, says he wants to take over the entire chairmanship of the Republican National Committee. And the battle is joined. And the fight within the GOP has also gotten personal. Cindy McCain takes a shot at her own husband in a new ad against bullying gay kids in school.
Our political and religious leaders tell LGBT youth that they have no future. They can't serve our country openly. Our government treats the LGBT community like second-class citizens.
Oh, damn! Who's a politician who's currently stopping gays from serving in the military? That would be her husband, John McCain, who's threatened to filibuster a repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. There's no way she doesn't know that, so ouch! Wow. All right. Josh Trevino is a former speechwriter for the George W. Bush administration and a Republican strategist. Josh, always great to have you on. All right, let's start at the top. The earmark thing is actually the most serious, and that looks to be a real battle, and they're doing it publicly. McConnell's saying, yeah, I want earmarks. DeMint is saying, hell no. First, who do you think is going to win?
I think Jim DeMint's going to win. And more properly, I think that the Republican base is going to win this one. There's no question but that Republicans across the country are against, as a whole, the continuation of the practice of earmarks. It's really an in-D.C. thing, and those espousing it are destined to lose, whether this time or the next.
But Josh, you got a problem there because within the Republican caucus, it's actually a secret ballot. So a lot of the senators could go out and be like, oh, yeah, oh, God, I hate those earmarks. Hey, Mitch, where do I sign? And so are you really that confident the secret ballot that the Tea Party folks are going to win?
Look, you're right about the fact that it's a secret ballot, and you're right about the fact that there are some senators who are trying to have it both ways on this one. But the fact of the matter is that whatever the outcome of the secret ballot in this particular case, the trend that the party is on and the direction that it's going is clear. This is a party that's rediscovered its roots in fiscal conservatism to an extent that didn't seem possible when we lost power both in 2006 and 2008. And so whether it happens now or later, it's going to happen. Jim DeMint is on the right side of history on this one, and those who would be on that side are well advised to join him.
Josh, I always was slightly confused as to the difference between the Republicans and the Tea Party because it seemed like they were so close to one another. They want to repeal the tax cuts, or they want to keep the tax cuts for the rich, I should say. They less regulation, etc. But this seems to be something that actually is a difference. So when you all as conservative activists and the Tea Party politicians said the problem is the establishment, were they specifically talking about Mitch McConnell and Lamar Alexander, etc., fighting on this earmark issue? Is that the heart of the problem?
Well, the establishment in general, it can mean a lot of different things depending on who you're talking to, and I'm not going to presume to speak for everybody who adheres to that. I've got my own particular definition of it that's pretty parochial as far as my own experience goes. But look, earmarks, though, is in some ways an establishment versus grassroots issue. And I don't know if I would identify it as a split between the Tea Party and the Republican Party. What you're seeing is a split between D.C. Republicans who are very comfortable where they are in Washington and the entire rest of the party, the tens of millions of Americans who identify with it. And I think I know which side has the weight of numbers.
Josh, were you discouraged, though, to see Rand Paul's comments saying earlier in this week, yeah, sure, earmarks, I'll take them, after saying, hell no way he's going to take them, et cetera, et cetera. Is that a real flip-flop, or has he walked that back?
Well, look, what's the quote? Put not your trust in princes. I'm never disappointed when a politician does something like this because they're politicians, and there was never any expectation to begin with. Our leaders in D.C., whether the Democrats, Republican, or other, are going to do the right thing only in as much as we, the people, pay attention to them. And if we're applying the pressure, then all we can do is do our best, hope, and work and pray that they do the right thing. So, was I disappointed in Rand Paul? Not really. He's going to fit in fine in the Senate if this is the course he chooses. But I think he'll generally be on the right side.
All right. Well, look, we agree on holding the politicians accountable. There's no question about that. So now let's go to the RNC. Is it a foregone conclusion that Michael Steele is gone?
Not a foregone conclusion. Obviously, Steele, along with pretty much anybody else who happened to hold party office in the past 6 months, is going to claim his share of credit, deserved or not, for the Republican victories several days back. Steele is in trouble. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's gone, but I do think that the challenges to him stem from very serious critiques, and he would be well advised to take them seriously. Anuzis he's in it to win, and he's a serious player, and frankly, I would be surprised if his is the last name that goes in the hat.
And that's the actual great advantage for Steele, isn't it? Because if you have a lot of people throwing their names in the hat, they're going to split the vote, and Steele is, right now, of course, the reigning chair, so that gives him the advantage, doesn't it?
Well, it gives them the advantage if, and this is a big if Steele has run the RNC in the way that most RNC chairmen would. Frankly, I don't think we can assume that of Steele's chairmanship, so I think that remains to be seen.
All right, and then finally on the McCains, that ad from Cindy McCain looks like that's a direct shot at her husband, doesn't it?
It does, but honestly, McCain family members backstabbing each other in public is not really news. I mean, who cares? Really.
So are you whose side are you on? Let me put it that way: Cindy or John McCain's?
In what in particular?
On the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Familiar relations or Don't Ask, Don't Tell?
I don't care about their family life. About Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Well, we wouldn't be talking about them but for that. On Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I would say, and this may be more of a nuanced discussion than you want to get into here. I'm broadly on John McCain's side, maybe not for the same reasons he is, but you count me more on McCain's than Cindy's.
Yeah, your last question on that, Josh, real quick, because I see polling that shows that a majority of conservatives actually believe that Don't Ask, Don't Tell should be repealed. So are the Republican politicians a little slow to catch up on that, or what's the dynamic there?
It's an interplay of different things. You've got some slow to catch up folks. You've got some folks who are beholden to particular interest groups, and also you have to understand that there are multiple principles at stake here. There are people who don't particularly care. I speak as somebody who served in the Army quite a while back to probably no good effect for the country nonetheless. But I'm not I'm agnostic on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I don't particularly care whether or not there's gays or homosexuals in the military. But the principle that I do believe in is the military's right to set its own standards and things like this. And so you have a lot of people, I think, when you see polling numbers like what you're referring to, which are legitimate, you have to understand that you have a lot of people who, on the conservative side, who don't support Don't Ask, Don't Tell per se, but they do support the right or the ability of the military to set its own standards without reference to this type of politicized oversight. So it's a little bit more of a hazy issue than I think it is a straightforward one.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. On the other hand, Gates and Mullen, et cetera, seems to have flipped on that. I know you guys are saying wait for the report, but the report's a foregone conclusion too, because that's also political. What do you think they're going to do? Tell Obama, no, we don't want to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell? Come on. I mean, the handwriting's on the wall, right?
I would say as a rule of thumb, the United States military is full of some of the bravest men and women you'll meet until they put stars on.
All right, that's a good rule of thumb. Josh Trevino, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it.